Ladies and gentlemen, Michael Mcdonald.
Thank you very much. What an awesome crowd. Thank you, thank you. So I kind of feel like what's happening here is a little bit like you and I are on an internet date. Obviously you got your tickets online, and I think the rules of internet dating should apply between us. So I've already started it off by showing up looking a little older than you thought. And so I'm just going to keep the ball rolling by, I'm going to just be the one who dominates the conversation, does all the talking. You guys should just be the ones that just, drink too much, get shit-faced, and laugh no matter what I say. And then we'll all go home and fuck. Orange County, this is where I'm from. This is my hometown here, Orange County. It's good to be home. I'm actually from Fullerton, which is from Fullerton. Excellent, excellent. Which is the Paris of Orange County. Do you guys remember when, in order to be famous, you had to have some kind of skill? Like you had to be a singer or a dancer or an athlete, right? Now you just have to be an asshole. Like John and Kate at +8, right? Like she's an asshole, he's an asshole, the kids are probably gonna grow up to be assholes. I mean, I hope they're not, but the odds aren't good, right? And then like the Kardashians, you know that show, right? Like why don't they call that show what it really is? Armenian Horror House. Right? And like the mom is the pimp. Right? I mean, if you see her, the way she's whoring those kids out, she's like, Courtney, have you had your sex tape released online yet? Well, shave your back and get to it. Let's go. And Bruce Jenner, what the hell happened to Bruce Jenner? He was on the Wheaties box, and now he looks like he is transitioning from male to female. I mean, he looks like a bird who went through a fire. It's horrible. And I mean, he's had like a lot of, plastic surgery, and which he openly admits. It seems like a really nice guy, and I'm not against plastic surgery, but don't have your work done at El Pollo Loco. And then, of course, the king of all assholes is Octomom. She's getting her own show. Do you know this? You didn't know this? All right, well, I don't know. Maybe you guys are probably paying attention to the fact that we're in 2 wars. Let me tell you what's really important and happening in America. Okay, so Octomom, for those of you who don't know, she is a lady who was not married, no job, no husband, already had 6 kids, and some of them were fucked up, right? You know that. Some of them are. Okay. She has 8 more. 6, 7, 8. Like her OBGYN had to close her vagina like it was an old-fashioned suitcase on a bed. Like. And she is training to be a therapist. Those are the facts, not the jokes. Sorry. So, How fucked up do you have to be to go to Octomom for advice? I have a family of skunks stuffed in my ass, and I thought you would be the only one who could relate. And then, you know, like, have you seen her, like, the interviews of her or whatever? Like, she's got that long, wavy, jet black hair and this, right? And a lot of people say that she is having plastic surgery so that she can look like Angelina Jolie. I say no, she is just growing a second vagina. Because this one said, I quit. Fuck you, lady. You're crazy. Anybody here have a dog? I got a dog. I love my dog. You love your dogs. I know that's true. But I think that everybody who has a dog, they kind of, every once in a while, they will stumble across, they'll say the following. They'll be like, my dog is so smart. She is so smart. She's a really smart dog. Like, my dog isn't. My dog is fucking dumb, and so's yours. They're dogs. And that's what makes them fun. That's what makes them entertaining, is their stupidity. Every morning, without exception, about an hour after I feed my dog, she's laying down very happily, like this, and you just hear a and she looks at me with a look of holy terror, like they have let Michael Vick out of prison. Oh, wait, they did. I guess he'll get his own show soon. Asshole. I like to think of myself as a good person. I'm not, but I like to think of myself as one. And so every once in a while, I don't know, I'll like take some stuff and bring it down to the Goodwill. And I packed up my car. It beats doing laundry. I packed up my car with stuff and brought it down to the Goodwill. And up in LA, where the Goodwill is, it's not a good area. Like it's called Vaseline Alley, where which I don't. The mind wanders, I'm sure. So anyway, the way it works is, you kind of drop the stuff off in the back of the store. And then that's the receiving area, whatever. So, I'm pulling stuff out of my car, doing loads, and everyone in the store was like, "You are such a good person." I'm like, "I agree." And as I was making my trips back and forth, I had noticed out of the corner of my eye this homeless dude, and he's kind of sitting on the edge of one of those giant dumpsters, and he's got bare feet, and he's trying to pick stuff out of the garbage with his feet. Like, how bad is your day when you're pawing? And he's one of those, like the level of homelessness, there's varying degrees, right? Everybody has their first day of homelessness where, like they look kind of like an extra from Mary Poppins, a little chimney soot. Hello, I'm a little homeless, right? And then obviously it gets worse over time. Like this dude he was like a member of the super homeless. He looked like Chaka from Land of the Lost. It was bad, is what I'm trying to say. So as I'm, doing my charity work, I'm passing by him. And then on my last trip, he's gone. He's not in the dumpster. And I just kind of, thought, oh, well. And then at the last minute, I'm getting ready to get into my car, and I see this, like, over the edge of the dumpster. Hey, buddy. I fell in the dumpster. I can't get out. Hey, buddy. Now, I'm a good person, but I'm not that good of a person. I'm also a germ phobe. Like, and I saw that dude. It was not pretty, But, hey, buddy. I'm like, fuck, what do I do? And then I had a thought, and I go, I'm not going to let you give up on yourself, man. I bet you can climb out of there. I believe in you. You can do it. I've been trying for a while. I haven't eaten in a while. I'm pretty weak. I'm like, fuck. This is not looking good. So finally I just go, I bet you $20 you can climb out of there. He climbs out. So, I think to myself, like, I'm happy to pay up. He earned it and everything. So I give him his $20 and he does this. Thank you, man. And at that point, I was like, dear God, please rain Purell. The economy here is horrible, as you guys all know, and like the housing market is really terrible. I really played it stupidly. I bought a house at the top of the market, and my house is now worth approximately what you guys paid for a couple of drinks. So like I would swap my house for 2 glasses of good wine at this point. And it worries me because I also, in addition to buying a house I couldn't afford, I had the kitchen and the bathrooms gutted and I filled them with marble and all that kind of. I needed a beautiful place to kill myself. Is what it is. So when you see me on the local news, hanging from a Tuscan beam. There's going to be a note on my lapel that says, "Look at the tile, it's gorgeous." And we elected Barack Obama, and he was supposed to fix everything, right? And I'm a little worried. I think I may have mistaken him for the magical black man from the Green Mile. Any Catholics here in the crowd? Awesome. Excellent. All right, so for those of you who aren't, the way it works is the Catholics have a weird system. The boys and the girls can go to school together up until high school. And then they separate the boys and the girls so they don't fuck, right? So blowjobs, negotiable. But anyway, so I went to an all-male Catholic school called Servite High School right here in Anaheim. The girls' school was called Rosary High School. You guys ever heard of that? Okay, so yeah, it's in Fullerton. And to me, it's like naming a girls' Catholic school Rosary High School is a little bit of like Catholic overkill. It's like calling a Jewish college Yarmulke U. Or like, I don't know, like a Muslim soccer team, the Mad Bombers. Okay, are we all right? We're okay. We're all right. Oh, so wait, that reminds me. So I had the great honor and privilege of performing for our soldiers in Iraq. And yeah, they're the most awesome people in the world. The most awesome people in the world, and it was a great honor to do so. And the show that we did was kind of an improvised show where we made everything up based on the audience suggestions. And whenever we did a scene, I would just sort of talk in the local Iraqi dialect and just be like, that was my little. Like if we were in a store, it'd be like, how much for this soda? I'd say $1.90 and cents, whatever. So that was my little bit, my very respectful homage to the language. And when the show was over, the show went very well. And after the show, we all sort of sat at a table, and everybody, had a stack of headshots with them when we signed autographs and took pictures, and most importantly, of course, thanked the soldiers for their service. And everybody had, like 100 soldiers in their line, as I did, but at the end of my line, I had something a little different, which was an Iraqi woman, and this was the look on her face. I was getting nervous, right? And as I was signing autographs, she was just getting one closer and one closer. And I was just starting to break out in a sweat and stuff. And there was just one soldier left, and then her. And so, like, as I was signing the autograph, I said, "Thank you for keeping us safe, Sergeant." And he was like, "Thanks, Stuart," and like away he ran. I was like, so there I was, face to face with this Iraqi lady, and she wasn't having it. She was mad. So she said to me, "Mr. McDonald, my name is Salim. I am a translator for the American troops. Mr. McDonald, because I do this, I jeopardize not only my life, but also the life of my entire family. Mr. McDonald, the way you make my people sound, that is not the way my people sound. They sound like this." Scared the Shiite out of me. When you do stand-up comedy, you usually have to, like, if you're traveling around, you usually have to do local news or any kind of press you can to get people to come to your show. And so I was in Arizona, and they had I don't know, it was a very nice show. It was like this local guy who'd been around forever. And sure enough, he was a very nice guy, but it was this real low-rent show where it was just kind of like a corner in an office, and you had like a panel where sometimes you talked with one other person. And the worst thing that you can have as a comic is to be paired with, someone who's sincere. And, as luck would have it, who I was also going to be interviewed with was this lady, very nice lady, who had just overcome bulimia, a lifetime of it. And I was like, what are the odds? So, and Pat McMahon, is this very nice guy, but he, kind of not really aware of his own impact. So he was like, so tell me, honey, this bulimia thing, I just don't get it. What's it all about? I don't understand how you get to this point. Can you explain what goes on? And so the lady was just like, well, it is, it's consuming. And then I popped in, but only temporarily, am I right? Yeah, it's about how it went. I realized, like, I've got, I don't know, like, this thing happens with me where I sort of think, and being in comedy for as long as I have, I forget, like, what is an appropriate statement or not. So for instance, and it happens like even with my own good friends. Like for instance, I was at a dinner party with a large group of friends. There was one person at the party I did not know at the table. And that's all it takes for me is to like go into that mode. Like I gotta get them to like me. And I know I'll tell them one of my hilarious stories and they'll laugh and then they'll like me. So we were at a restaurant and I divide restaurants into two different categories. There are nice restaurants, and then there are restaurants that allow fucking kids, right? It's not that I don't love kids. I love kids. I just think that they are safer in their cages. I think that's not me. That's Parenthood Today that says that. Anyway, so we're there, and next to us is a table with a mother, and they have these new, like, I don't know, baby carriages that are like, I don't know, lunar modules now. They're huge, and there's like, they could go over Mars with them and everything. And there's a baby in the thing, and it's going like, yeah, making that horrible sound. Roughly translated from baby to adult is, I'm gonna fuck up your night, and your night, and your night, like, so. And then the mom is drinking whatever that kind of wine is that makes them deaf to their own children's pitch, right? So everyone at my table, I was doing one of my hilarious stories, and everyone's looking over at the thing here. So I was like, yeah, I got to get them back, right? I know how I can get back their attention. I will get them back with a little joke. So I lean into my table and I go, apparently that woman doesn't realize her abortion is still alive. That's what happened. What? Are you fucking kidding? What? And it happens even with my own family. It's crazy. You would think that my family would be used to me by now, but apparently not. So I went to a family reunion, and I have to say that I went obviously because I love my family very much, and also because I need material for nights like tonight. So the family reunion was very lovely. My mom organizes all that kind of stuff. Now, she's a very staunch Catholic, so she wanted to have a Catholic priest bless the family reunion. And so we did. We brought a priest, but also because my mom is a very good hostess and there were going to be children there, she wanted them to be, entertained. So she found a priest who could juggle. Yeah, they exist. Okay, so, it's going very well. He's, spinning the plates or the bowling pins, whatever he had at the time, and saying the prayers. It's all going very well. And one of my aunts turns to me and says, "Isn't your mom wonderful? She found a priest who can juggle." And I kind of turned to her and I said, I don't know. I don't know if it's that hard to find a priest who's willing to surround himself with kids and do this. So my aunt was like, "What?" She stomps away. I lost her, right? Okay. So I went to where the men in the family were, which for me is the bar, and the safety of it. And there was one of my uncles who I had not seen in, 10 or 15 years. And the first thing he says to me after all that time is, "Michael, have you had plastic surgery?" And I go, "Yeah, I just had my dick shortened so I could fit in with the family better." What? I was like, well, fuck it. I stand by that joke. I enjoyed it. So, anyway, then all of a sudden I hear from the crowd, "Hey, asshole!" And I don't know about you, but my experience has been when I'm in a crowd and I hear the words, "Hey, asshole," they mean me. So I turned, it was one of my cousins, and he goes, "I can't believe you said that to him." I go, "Why?" And he goes, "He just had prostate surgery." You just made a dick shortening joke to a man who just had his dick surgically shortened. I was like, how should I have known that? Should I have checked, his Facebook page? Status, sad, just had dick surgically shortened. Send. And what about the whole Facebook thing and MySpace and all those social things? We know way too much about each other already. Don't you think? I hate it when somebody sends me whatever, "just ate a sandwich, yum." Just shit out the sandwich from yesterday, yum. Fuck you. I sort of feel like we get our taste in comedy very much like how we get our taste in food. We end up liking whatever mama cooked up for us. So if you're, from an Indian family, your mom probably cooked spicy food. You grew up liking spicy food. And for me, comedically, my mom cooked up giant vats of fucked up with crazy gravy. And I was like, delicious. I couldn't get enough of it. I like it. I like things sick. I don't know if you noticed. So if I can, I'd like to give you a sample of my mom's cooking. All right. So my mom is a lovely lady, and she stayed at home. My dad worked, and a very idyllic childhood. And that was all great, but every once in a while there would be a little surprise when I came home from school. I was about 7 years old and walked in and opened the door and said, Mom, I'm home. And I kind of heard from the distance, I'm upstairs. So I ran upstairs. And by the way, our house was like a Brady Bunch house, you know, like where upstairs was just 3 steps. Like no architectural purpose at all, but just, fuck it, let's put some stairs here. Just 3, fuck it. So bounded up the stairs to my mom's bathroom, and there was my mom, and she had a very sad look on her face. And I said, Mom, what's wrong? And she said, this. And on her tongue was the most hideous, horrible, disgusting growth that I'd ever seen. And I said, what is that? And she said, it's cancer. And I said, oh no, what do we do? And she said, well, I want you to go into the kitchen and get a knife. I'm like, okay, what? Ran down the stairs a little less joyfully, into the kitchen and grabbed a giant knife and a roll of paper towels, because I was a scout. And I went into the bathroom to cut the cancer off my mom's tongue. You've all been there, right? It's universal story, yes? Okay. Anyway, as I went to do it, at the very last minute, my mom kind of brushed my hand aside and went like this. It was just a contact, honey. I was like, as I came to, I realized that my mom had, really given me a great gift. Number one, she felt that at age 7, I was smart enough to get the joke. And also, more importantly, you could joke about anything with her. No subject was off limits. Like, as long as it was a joke, fucking go for it, right? So I was like, let's go. Let the comedy begin, lady. You're on. Let's have at it. And so my relationship with my mom largely consisted of each of us trying to mess with each other's head via comedy. So I always felt like that was a game best played out in public. So, like, we'd be at the grocery store, and every small town, everybody knew who we were. And as we were sliding the groceries and stuff, I would just sort of announce to the whole store, Mom, why don't we also buy all of your alcohol here as well? And then my mom, knowing the game was on, would go, oh, no. Making her look like the craziest alcoholic that ever lived. And we're Irish Catholics. Any Irish folks in the crowd? Awesome. Good. Oh, thank God. So then you guys know, like, the way it works with the Irish is if it's bleak and dark and horrible, let's talk about that. Like, the sicker, illness is really a good one. Death, even better, of course. But as long as it's really messed up and twisted and fucked up, let's talk about that. Okay, so my mom and I were, I don't know, I think we were watching, like, the Terry Schiavo case? That was the lady who was in a coma, and her husband wanted to pull the plug, and the family didn't. It was on the news all the time, and you remember that video of her in the hospital? Was she looking at the balloon, were her eyes falling, right? It was awful, right? Horrible. And so we're watching that like it was, I don't know, the only thing to do. And my mom kind of, after, just got silent. And I always know when she gets silent that something good's going to come out. So she's watching the whole thing happen, and she just turns to me out of the blue and says, oh, that's awful. Michael, do me a favor. If I am ever in a state like that, just spray me in the face with a can of Raid. Meaning, she didn't want to linger. And that if I was any kind of good son at all, I would kill her with bug spray. Okay. So I just tucked that in the back of my mind, whatever, and just another one of my mom's gems. And my parents are getting older now, and I don't know about you guys, but this is my theory about having a conversation with an elderly parent. Having a conversation with an elderly parent is a lot like being on a game show where you have to guess the correct answer in order for the conversation to move forward at all, right? So, typical example, went to my parents' house, my mom, oh, Michael, oh, thank God you're here. Thank goodness. I'm so happy. Listen, it's awful. The people that live in like the neighbors, yes. What about the neighbors? Oh, it's awful. It's really awful. They, as you know, they have, and you probably saw, and it's a mess. I'm going to take a guess and say the neighbors' trees are dropping leaves on our property. Yes. What would you like me to do? Oh, if you could talk to the guy, the little guy, the little guy. Looks like a child, but isn't. The gardener? Yes. What would you like me to tell the gardener, Mom? Well, if you could just have him, after he cleans up our yard, have him clean up the neighbor's yard, and we will pay for it. It's just, the woman next door, it's just awful. She just came down with a terrible case of, don't tell me. It's, you do not want this. Oh, Alzheimer's. So I turned to my mom and said, Mom, is it time for me to get that can of Raid? And my mom sort of snaps out of me and goes, no. But if you ever do ask me that question and I don't know what I'm talking about, use it. That's my mom. My mom can make a joke about anything, and that's what I love about her. My mom is also sort of if you haven't already noticed, my mom is the inspiration for the character of Stuart's mom, and who was so brilliantly played by Mo Collins. And my mom, she would say, like, that has nothing to do with what happened, like giving her due. She says no. But like for me, all I would do is on like the set of MADtv, I would just like walk up with scripts and give them to people, and they'd be like, "This is so fucked up," and I was like, "That was so 1975." Anyway, for me, I really enjoyed doing Stuart, and I'm glad that people liked it and stuff. But I also do know that the universe has a way of letting you know when something is over and done. And that happened for me doing a Stuart sketch one time. We were shooting a Stuart sketch. We were on set, and I was in my wig, and I had my big shoes, and I had my rouge on, and my plaid shirt, and my eyes were crossed. And we were doing this. It was going really well, and then it came time for me to get on the floor, and I did. And I said, down. And then like out of the blue, the sound guy comes out and says, sorry, we got to cut. There's a sound issue. Not a big deal. Sorry, just a sound issue. And I was like kind of irritated because I don't like to, stop and start. But that's, the way show business works. So I was like, all right, let's do it again. And got back, applied rouge, got my wig straightened, and away we were doing the scene. And it was going really well again. We were having a lot of fun. I was going a little farther, and then finally I had to get down on the floor. And I did. I said, down. And again, the sound guy comes out. He goes, cut. We got to cut. And now I'm fucking mad, right? He's like, I want to know why we have to cut. He's like, you want to know? I'm like, yeah, I want to know. Like, I got street, but I'm dressed as a baby. I want to know. He's like, all right, I'll tell you. Every time you kick your leg, your knee is clicking so loud it's picking up on the microphones. And yeah, it hit me like a ton of bricks. Like, holy shit, I'm way too old to be playing a baby. And you know, getting older is, I don't know, it's really, I like to try and find, you know, the humor in anything. It's really hard to find the humor in getting older because it just fucking sucks, right? Like, you know, if you're a dude, like your balls drop. And like a good day for me is when I don't sit on my balls. Like, it's always like, whoa, oh, all right, we're all right. Do you guys all know Kathy Griffin? Yeah? Okay. So she's an old friend of mine and a very funny comic. And Kathy and I, we've known each other forever. And we've always had this little game that we've done where we'll be having a conversation and then just out of nowhere, at a moment of Kathy's choosing, without any notification to me, she will just yell out, catch me, and then she will jump in the air and I have to fucking catch her. Because that's so much fun for me. Anyway, so we've done it forever, and I hadn't seen her in a long time, and we finally ran into each other, and we're talking about stuff, and in the middle of the conversation, she just says, catch me, and I was like, catch me, what's that mean? Oh, fuck, right, the game. So I went to catch her, but of course, I was, you know, a little slow, so I caught her down low like this, and I don't know if you've ever had that thing happen. Like, have you ever been macheted in the back? It's the same thing. Like, have you been macheted from the top of your head to the tip of your heel? Sliced? Okay, so that's what fucking happened. But I was embarrassed because it meant I was older, right? So I didn't want anyone to notice. And luckily, as I let Kathy go, she was talking about her career, so she's like, blah, 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 blah. She didn't notice a thing at all. But I had to, like, still walk away, and it was like one of the extras in Michael Jackson's Thriller video. I was like, so I was in so much pain, I had to go see a physical therapist. Anybody here in the medical field or healthcare field? Okay, great. I would like to report somebody. His name is he works in West LA, and I was in so much pain that I had fantasized about what it was going to be like to see a physical therapist. Like, I imagined was going to be sort of swooping in on a cloud of dry ice and just with like a funnel of pills, and he was just going to dump them in my mouth and I was going to float away. Instead, this is what I got. I was like, what? I don't know if you know Kathy Griffin, but we do this game. And he was like, there are people in show business who come in here all the time. I don't care. I don't have time. Just lay on the table, pain side up. So all right, fine. So I'm laying on the table, pain side up. And again, he does not explain a thing to me. He slides one arm in between my thighs, one arm around the back of my neck, and then presses his dick like into mine. Manipulating my spine, saying, let it go, let it go, let it go. I pop off the table like, am I on YouTube? Is this porn? Am I a porn star? And he says, how do you feel? And I go, like Jodie Foster on that pinball machine. That's how I feel. And I had to go see him for like 2 months, but I will say this, he eventually did, it all worked out because look what I can do. I am trying to figure out what to do with myself now that I have, all this free time. And one of the things I was thinking about is, hey, MADtV's over, but that doesn't mean I can't go on and do other things. Like, I don't know, Al Franken, after Saturday Night Live, became a senator, right? Maybe I should go into politics. So, really, I don't have your vote? Wow. All right. Let me see if I can convince you. Here's my thought is, I only really have passion for one issue, and that is for the legalization of marijuana. And, now she's on board. All right. Now I notice not everybody cheered, and I get it. Like that, not everybody is in agreement, but that would be my job as a politician, is to bring everybody aboard to my way of thinking. So let me see if I can do it. I think that, and I know that this first one's going to sound a little vague, but I think we should legalize marijuana because it would just make everything better. Starting with your friends. Like, if you have unfunny friends, get high. They're going to seem hilarious. And then there are people on the left. Well, you guys are all interested in recycling, right? Well, how about this? When you're high, you can recycle anything, including old TV shows. Like, I can watch an old episode of Charlie's Angels that I've seen a million times, and I will just stand up and go, I don't think they're going to get out of this one. For those of you on the right, maybe terrorism is an issue, right? If it was mandatory that everybody in the world had to get high, terrorists would be like, hey, would you like to go kill innocent civilians? Ahmed. And Ahmed would be like, how about we kill this bag of Doritos? Right? For me, what would be really my ideal job would be to have, I watch the HGTV, that network, the Home and Garden Network. So I would love to have my own show on that network. And it would be called Michael McDonald's High Style. And each episode would consist of me smoking an entire joint on camera. And then I would just rearrange the room I was in. Right? So I have this pet peeve about Christmas letters that are sent out. The Christmas letters that people send out that are like, they have everything that you did that year that nobody asked you about, right? So I want to read a real Christmas letter to you. This is a letter I received, and tell me what you think. I hope you enjoy it as much as I do. Dear family and friends, it's already that time of year again when we think of all of our family and friends who we don't see very often and hope to hear from. Our highlight of the year was a camera safari to Africa. Everyone had a wonderful time. Dan and I were there 24 years ago and had always said it was our most memorable trip. So we decided to return to some of the places and visit new ones with the kids. That is one area of the world where nothing has changed. There are still military men running around with rifles who shouldn't have them. Did I mention this Christmas letter? We visited a Maasai village where they continue to make their huts with cow dung, urine, and animal skins. Everyone sounded like they were infected with TB. Ding, ding-a-ling, ding, ding-a-ling. Right? Dan's mother is still in a nursing home. We visited her in October, took her out to dinner and to her home for the afternoon. How fucking insane is that? Remember your home? Yes. My parents were in an automobile accident in October. The car was totaled. My mother had a deep head gash, which required 55 stitches. She also had many bruises and was sore, swollen, and black and blue for weeks. My father had gashes and injured his neck and shoulder. He is now wearing a huge metal contraption which is screwed to his head. May the holidays bring you joyful hours, pleasant memories, thoughts of friends, and happiness. Yeah. I also had like a lot of great travels through stand-up, and one of them I enjoyed very much was going to the city of Chicago. Now, anybody ever been to Chicago? It's a great place. Something very odd about that city, though. They have signs, I kid you not, on their freeway that say, "Hit a worker, $1,000 fine." I looked at the sign and I was like, I got the money. Hadn't even thought about it until you put a price on it. My rule of thumb is you should be proud of wherever you're from as long as it's not fucking Pittsburgh. Have you guys, anybody here from Pittsburgh or ever been there? Okay, well I have. You have? Okay, well then you know what I'm about to say is true. Okay, so first of all, it's Pittsburgh, or as it's known, Shittsburg, which like God took a shit and a city grew. That's not me, that's the Bible that says that. And so I was there in Pittsburgh, and I was playing, comedy club there. And when you travel, I sort of feel like you have to kind of get to know the town. And the easiest way for me to get to know the town is to watch the local news. So this is me watching the local news in Pittsburgh. It was like just clicking through the murder, the suicide, the murder, the body was murdered, buried, dug up, re-raped, and murdered again. And these were the feel-good stories. So, and I kid you not, the real story that was going on in Pittsburgh was right around this time last year. It was Pittsburgh, I should say, to its credit. They have it's like I guess a park for the blind. It's like a safe place to wander, and which is like the bushes, don't have prickers or anything like that. So that's good. And apparently, like somebody, vandalized the park for the blind. Which, like, how big of an a-hole do you have to be to let's stick it to the blind. But Pittsburgh is so horrible that even the blind know it. I can see the shittiness of Pittsburgh. Anyway, so the news was reporting on this story all about how the blind, park had been vandalized, and the way how the news, like, they throw to the roving reporter. So they kind of threw to her, and the lady was so upset that she literally didn't even hear them, and she was just looking. Oh, am I on? Okay. And also, like, she couldn't even get the story out. She was so upset. And this is where, like, I could never be a reporter, because I would have been like, well, let's get to the bottom of it. Did any of the kids see anything? I also went to spend some time down in the South. And one of the things I like about the South is you can never tell when they say something, you never know, is it are they giving me a compliment or is it a challenge to a fight? Like, you just don't know. Like, I opened up a door for a mother and her children. And as I opened the door, the kids filed in, and the woman at the last minute just says to me, "Well, aren't you sweet enough to kill a diabetic?" And I was like, that's pretty sweet. I'll take it. And like, a lot of towns are very particular about how you say their town. Like Louisville, Kentucky, it's spelled Louisville, Kentucky, right? And it's not even, you don't even pronounce it. If you call it Louisville, they'll get mad. It's like, it's Louisville. It's Louisville. We like to say it that way so that when we're pulled over for DUI, we get the town right. I'm from Louisville, officer. You may go. They're very, very particular. And a lot of times when I go on the road, I have to, fill up the days. I work at night, and I go to a lot of movies, I guess. And for me, my general experience has been, if you work in a movie theater, you are either a teenager or there's something wrong with you. And sure enough, I already knew, I could tell there was something wrong with the person working there. His head was so pointy that if I was a baby, I'd want to stack rings on it. You know what I mean? And he had, his shoulder blades jutted out really, far this way, he could applaud with his shoulder blades behind his back. It was just a very unfortunate looking fellow. And, but there's no big deal, right? Like everybody has their cross to bear or whatever. And so sure enough, I go to, I wave the ticket at him because a lot of times they don't, necessarily care. But he was like, I need to tear your ticket in order so that you can go to the bathroom if you need to go. And we know that the count. And it's like, holy shit. Okay, it's worse than I thought, right? His voice sounded like Kermit the Frog with a brain injury, is what it was. So wow, okay, sure enough, buddy, here you go. Here's the ticket. And as I handed him the ticket that he said he wanted to tear, his arms were kind of crossed, defiantly. And I was like, what the fuck is... And then I looked closer, and they weren't like this. They were like this. Like a T-Rex throwing gang signs. But they don't come undone, right? So, now I'm like, holy shit, okay, we're gonna have to work as a team to get this thing done, right? So I go to put the ticket in the top of his hands, and they weren't opening, and I was like, Jesus, dude, help me out. And so he goes, if you put it in the bottom, which, if I had a nickel. I'm kidding. So I go to put it in the bottom, the thing, and I get it in the bottom there. And for me, I've just found that I have a degree of fame that can just get me into trouble. So as I'm trying, I get the ticket in the guy's hands, and he's trying to tear the tickets, which I can't even. That's hard to get the torque from that angle, right? That's tough for anybody. So I just turned to my buddy and really quietly just whispered, man, for him, tearing one ticket is like tearing a phone book in half. And all of a sudden I hear this behind me, and I look, and it's this lady, just a stern lady, give me this look like, and then her face changes, and she's like, I know you. I watch you every Saturday night on television. You're Will Ferrell. And I was like, yes, I am. So probably my favorite town of all to visit is Nashville, Tennessee. And it's, as you know, it's famous for two things, country music and its lesbians. And those are two of my favorite things. I love lesbians. I feel like here we all are, and here's lesbians. They're up here. And the reason is, they have the warm, loving heart of a woman, the can-do spirit of a man, and the best weed. It's true. Love your lesbians. Okay, so I was in Nashville, and I wanted to, combine my love for country music and for lesbians, and we went to a lesbian karaoke bar. And by the way, I'm not talking about lesbians, sorority girls who did a tequila shot off each other's neck. I'm talking about lesbians, right? You know how like in the cartoons, like the Roadrunner cartoon, like the Roadrunner would stop midair, they'd freeze frame and be like beep beep, and he'd freeze, and then underneath it would say like Bertus spasticus or whatever. And the lesbians there, it's like they stop, boom boom, and they've got like sensible hair and like a flannel shirt and a keychain like Schneider from One Day at a Time. Lesbianas Americanas, like the real thing. Okay, so we walk into the lesbian karaoke bar, and I was immediately greeted by the head lesbian, and they, very structured society. And she said, it's nice to meet you. Welcome to my bar. My name is BJ. I know. I was like, wow, a lesbian named BJ. That is like a gay man being named Cunnilingus. It's ironic. So BJ introduces herself and then says, would you like to get high? And I was like, yes, please, thank you very much. And I should just say this right now. I have medical marijuana. I have a prescription for it. I'm not doing anything illegal, and it's all, you guys know we have medical marijuana in California, right? All right. And it's thank God. It's a very strict process. You go to a doctor who has a clinic in a mini mall, usually. And they put you through a very serious exam, and they ask you things like, what is your illness? And I said, I am sick of not being high. There you go. So anyway, where was I? Oh, BJ. Okay, so BJ introduces herself. We go out to her pickup truck to get high. And as we get in, she hands me the joint, and I realize, like, wow, I just met this person. There could be anything in this pot, So I turned to her and I said, BJ, there's nothing crazy in here, is there? And she said, just a little Tennessee magic. I was like, okay, that sounds legit. Thank you. And as I went to smoke it, I committed the ultimate stoner faux pas, which was, I don't know, I guess I'm kind of a nervous person. I've always had kind of a nervous way about me. My hands are a little shaky. I'm just nervous, and I don't know, it's ever since I was little. And I don't know what it's from. It might be because my mom put a contact on her tongue and said it was cancer. I don't know. I'm teasing. My problems are my own, Mom. Anyway, so as I went to take the joint from her, I committed the ultimate stoner faux pas, and I dropped the joint. Oh, listen to this. These guys are, oh no! You're with me. And as it fell, it just, like in slow motion, I was like, no! But I didn't get it in time, and it disappeared amongst all of the big gulp cups on the floor of BJ's pickup truck. And then, like a flash, she pulls out this thing like an antenna with a grabber on it, and she just fishes in the dark and whips out the joint in nothing flat like a lesbian MacGyver. I go, BJ, how did you do that? She goes, I'm a lesbian and a school teacher. We get shit done. So love your lesbians. I guess I'd have to say that you could probably tell from tonight, like, I don't know, I've met and known a lot of awesome women in my life. The way I see the world is like women really run the world, and they just let men pretend that they do. And that's fine with me. It's too hard to do. But one of the other great women that I knew growing up, it was one of my best friends, and his mother was this awesome lady, as my mom was. Like, my mom taught me certain things, resilience, and, like being able to find a joke in anything, and I'll always be grateful to her for that. And my friend Mike Elliott's mom, she was kind of the opposite of my mom. My mom was kind of dark and complicated and awesome. And she was awesome in a different way. She was this kind of big, larger-than-life lady, really loud. And when I say larger-than-life, I mean she's very heavy woman. She's a big fat woman. There's no way to put it. She's a very fat lady, like a ball of pizza dough with a wig. Like that's okay. But she never let it get her down. Like she just made it work. And she would be the type of lady that kind of announced herself wherever she came into a room or whatever. She'd be like, "Hi, I'm Pat Elliott." And everybody would kind of turn, and then they'd just instantly fall in love with her because she was so confident. And they took me, the Elliots did, they took me on a family vacation to Mexico with them. And Pat Elliott, being who she was, big lady and everything, she just popped on a bathing suit, walked right down to the pool. It's like, "Hi, I'm Pat Elliott." And in 2 days, she owned the pool. Like, everyone's like, "Hi, Pat, we love you." So it was really great. And in Mexico, they have these things where, there are like rides where a boat can pull either a parachute or it can pull like an inner tube that's, like a hot dog, right? So one day, Pat is just looking at the ride being operated, and she's standing like this with her legs together. "I want to ride on the giant hot dog." So like everyone around the pool is like, "Honey, get up. Pat's going to ride on the hot dog. Get up. You want to see this." And Pat kind of, thunders down the beach to where the ride operators were. And the way it works in Mexico is like all the important jobs, like the concierge and things like that, they're all done by like the taller, more, Caucasian looking or European looking Mexicans, of the more Spanish looking Mexicans. They do all that, the front work. And then all the real work is done by these little fuckers that come out of the hills, right? That's the way it is. So these two little dudes next to Pat, like they look like hors d'oeuvres. And they're just like, what the, okay. Ay, Dios mío. And she goes, "I want to ride on a giant hot dog." And they like look at Pat, they look at the number on the engine with the horsepower, and like, "Okay, Pat, go ahead, okay." And there's like a guy already ready to, ride. He's like, "Pat, why don't you just go ahead and take this? You go ahead." So one of the great things about the water is that it's a great equalizer. And so, Pat got in the water, very graceful, and just kind of slid right up onto that giant hot dog. And she's ready to go. And so the little, Mexican dudes just kind of throw the engine into like high gear. And if an engine could talk, it would have said like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" And it takes off at Pat. So sure enough, Pat is going back and forth like, down the beach. "Hi, I'm Pat Elliott. I'm riding this way. I'm on the giant hot dog. I'm Pat Elliott. Now I'm going this way. No hands. I'm Pat Elliott. Woo!" All of us, there's like 100 people gathered watching this, just like, "Go, Pat!" Like everybody's behind her. We love her. So sure enough, the ride comes to an end, and she slips off the thing. And the way the beaches are, they're a little steep, and you have to wait for the water to recede, and then in between wave sets, you walk up. So Pat Elliott, does it properly, and she's walking up. "Hi, I'm Pat Elliott. I just rode the giant hot dog." And behind her, a giant wave has formed that she doesn't see. And all of a sudden, boom, wave takes her down. She like disappears into the surf and kind of bobs up, one bra strap off, a little areola showing. But she's still Pat Elliott. "Hi, I'm Pat Elliott. Rocking up the beach." Second wave, boom, takes her down. She disappears a little longer. Comes up, now she's got a fucking raspberry on her forehead. Both tits are just out. She's holding on to the bottom part, and she is confused. "Hi, I'm Pat Elliott. I'm Pat Elliott." Another wave, boom, takes her down. We're all like this. We're frozen, and then we're like, "Holy shit, like this is bad," so we all run down to go get Pat. All the men do, and they kind of fish her out of the surf, and she's just like, knocked for a loop. And as we carry her past a giant crowd of people that have just been watching this horribly humiliating thing, Pat Elliott has the resilience and strength of character to say, Wasn't that fun? You've got to try it. And I hope that in life you can do that no matter what life gives you. Thank you so much. You guys are an awesome, awesome audience. I really appreciate it.